But I was just like, what do I want to do? Like, I'm kind of bored. And like, I was like, podcast would be kind of cool. Do not have any idea where it came from. I'm like,
you weren't like watching Joe Rogan or something like that, right?
No, and here's the thing: I never listened to podcasts ever. Like
little dumb luck.
No, it was literally, and I truly don't even know. Like one day, I was just like, I'm gonna do a podcast. Like, I have a lot of things to say, and then I was like, who do I want to do it with? Mike, duh. It like wasn't even a hesitation. Yeah. There wasn't a list. It was Mike. So I was like, hey, you want to do a podcast? He's like, yeah, okay.
So the funniest part for the podcast for me too is Chuck Fenton, and he did not mean this offensively, but he genuinely goes, dude, I don't want to, don't take offense to this, but who's going to listen to a podcast about HOAs? And I laughed and I go, you're probably right. Yeah. I go, Kara,
because everybody loves HOAs, right?
Yeah, it was true and it was right, and that's kind of the energy we took on the podcast. Who knows?
Hey everyone, welcome to the Next Level Living podcast. I'm your host, Summer Blazer, and with my co-host, Corey Neubauer. We are so excited for the guests we have today.
We have rock stars in the house.
Woo! Kara
Just
Foley.
Fellow podcasters.
Right? Yeah.
Fellow podcasters. And Mike Perloff from HOA Pros.
Yeah.
In the
HOA Pros.
Hazies.
Yep.
Oh, you guys, we're so excited to have you.
Yeah, this is like deja vu from us all podcasting.
Right?
It's like was this round 3 maybe?
Yeah.
Yes, we've been together a few times, and now they get to see our faces too.
Yeah.
Which is a whole new wrinkle.
That part freaks me out.
Yeah.
I don't know where to look at.
Yes.
I know.
Who's looking at me?
It's like an interrogation room.
Don't make us look
Yeah,
at. This is the first time that we had 4 people at a table, so this is kind of unique for us. Usually we're sitting in chairs and stuff. So
I thought so.
Yeah,
Okay.
so no,
This is actually better for me.
no profile
Yeah,
shots,
you like this
right?
better?
Yeah.
No, it's better for me because when you're on a couch, then you're just like having to like sit up straight, make sure
Yes.
all the things are tucked in.
Well, we're excited to talk to you guys because you guys, this has been a big. You guys have been a big part of us starting this as well.
I love that.
Oh, cool.
and I think we were talking about that before. There's a lot.
We've talked a lot.
There's a lot of people. Yes, Mike's been amazing in
Thank you.
offering up advice. So
I don't know if it's wisdom, but it's advice.
well, if
Yeah,
you
right.
stub if you stub your toe, right, you can tell somebody the next time, hey, there's a
That's
trip
it.
hazard
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, and we've definitely learned the hard way.
Oh yeah.
Like through the whole thing, it was like, oh, that didn't work.
Well, give us just a quick little background, right, so that we everyone else understands what you the trailblazing that you guys have
Maybe
done.
even like
how
you
it started.
Yeah.
So it was a Wednesday at 11 a.m. I was sitting on my couch with wine in my coffee cup.
This was during
It
COVID,
was
right?
mid-COVID.
Yes,
no.
yes.
Yeah, no, it was mid-COVID, and Kara just called me and was like, hey, what do you think about doing a podcast?
And it was actually a Sunday because I was doing crafts and watching Law and Order because that's what I
I
do on
love that
Sundays.
you remember that exactly.
I remember the moment, and I'll always remember it because it really took my whole like professional vision in a different direction.
That's awesome.
Did you want to tell it or
No, I
okay?
think, no,
I'll tell
go.
the lead up part to when then Mike took the reins, but I was literally sitting on my couch on a Sunday, and it was post COVID, and I wish I remember like the date because I know it was like kind of towards like the latter part of 2020 because I had gone through cancer treatment most of 2020, so it's like diagnosed with cancer, COVID, and then all my treatment. And so I was coming out of that. So it had to be close to probably September. And I was sitting at home watching Law and Order and just kind of like, what do I want to do with myself? And like, it's kind of funny to think in that moment and at that age that you're like, what do I really want to do? I realized in my current role, I was a little bit bored. And I know that's going to sound really terrible for our industry because no one's ever bored because it's just so crazy. But I was very fortunate to have really dialed in my community that I was managing.
You're an autopilot, right?
Yeah, and my team.
Which is
In
the
a
goal.
good way.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the goal. It's always the goal.
Right,
And
yeah.
that's actually like why I really advocate for people in this industry to have like the right support. But I was just like, what do I want to do? Like, I'm kind of bored and like had a new kind of lease on life, just my shift, mental shift. And I was like, podcast would be kind of cool. Do not have any idea where it came from. I'm like,
You weren't like watching Joe Rogan or something like that, right?
No, and here's the thing. I never listened to podcasts ever.
Yeah.
Like,
Little dumb luck.
no, it was literally, and I truly don't even know. Like one day I was just like, want to do a podcast. I have a lot of things to say. And then I was like, who do I want to do it with? Mike, duh. It like wasn't even a hesitation.
Yeah.
There wasn't a list. It was Mike. So I was like, hey, you want to do a podcast? He's like, yeah, okay. And literally within, I don't know, 3 days, probably by the next week, he's like, here's our logo. I bought a microphone. Chuck says we can use the room in the office because nobody uses it because of COVID. And it's full of tchotchkes right now, but we'll move them out. And like, let's just see how it goes. And I'm like, cool. Let's see how it goes.
And that's what I love.
3
That's what I love
days
about
in.
Mike. You give Mike an idea. He's like a puppy dog that's just ready to go and attack everything.
1,000%.
Yeah. Well, and we had collaborated on lots of other stuff that was like podcast adjacent, songs and
Yeah, you guys are
social
so
media
artistic.
and creative stuff.
Oh, for sure.
So I think it was a no-brainer. It was we kind of do this already.
Let's just formalize it a little bit.
Let's formalize it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And then I had just prior to that, because this is all during the COVID and everyone was, what's the word? Your twist.
Different? Yeah.
Pivoting. Thank you.
Yes.
Pivot.
Everyone was pivoting and coming up with new things. And I had started SoCal HOA Pros on Facebook.
Right.
And so we kind of had discussed what we would call the podcast. And I'm like, why don't we just do that?
Yeah.
It's already alive. We already had, I think, probably 500-ish people in the group.
How many are you up to now on that Facebook page?
We're over 2,000. I know that. We broke 2,000, which is
Yes.
crazy.
And that's a great community that you've created there. And that's what we're talking about here, creating community. And you have on that level of the people that are servicing that, and you're kind of like the therapeutic side of it.
Yeah.
You really help. But
my favorite part is making sure there's no board members in that group.
It's a tight knit. Yeah.
Well, because people
people
need a safe space. And, someday, like one of the ones that keeps popping up in my feed as like the top is like, I got called a peasant today for the first time, you know, and so that's something that, people need to be able to vent to people who understand. Because anytime you go home as a community manager, you're like venting to your spouse or your
like, why would you put
other,
up with that?
And they're just like, what are you talking about?
So the funniest part for the podcast for me too is Chuck Fenton. And he did not mean this offensively, but he totally just genuinely came up to me and goes, dude,
now Chuck is who?
Chuck Fenton is my boss.
Okay. And where do you work? Let's go make sure we understand who you are.
He is a partner of Fenton Grant Law Firm.
Yes.
And just rad dude. But
Hi,
he genuinely goes, dude, I don't want to, don't take offense to this, but who's going to listen to a podcast about HOAs? And I laughed and I go, you're probably right. I go, Kara,
because everybody loves HOAs, right?
Yeah, it was true and it was right. And that's kind of the energy we took on the podcast. Who knows? We have no idea. I'm getting chills because then a month later, it was like 1,200 listens on the first episode.
Nice.
And I, of course, run into Chuck's office. Check this out.
See?
Like, look, Chuck, 1,200 people want to listen to us.
Yeah, and it just slowly keeps growing. And then it's an interesting subject because all of us are in the professional HOA industry, but there's so much more in common than you would think with all of us. From just a manager to an insurance vendor.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you share and experience, and
we're all fishing in the same pond kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
We're just on different sides of the coast.
Yeah.
We're all in the service business.
Yeah. And we can all really relate to each other more than you would think.
Yeah.
And then hearing others' struggles and others, just like I got called a peasant today.
Right.
Like hearing someone else and go, hey, I got called a peasant too.
Yeah.
Like what
Or
happened?
I don't feel so bad now because
Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Well, and in this space, I think one of the advantages we have and why our audience has grown is I think people look to both of us as leaders in the industry, and we're real about this industry. We're not talking crap all the time, but we're saying like, hey, these things are really happening. How do we combat them together? It's a tough job. It's a tough industry. There is a lot of turnover. So what do we do about it? And I think people hearing us talk about, today was a really crappy day and this board member was out of their mind and like this is happening. People are like, I feel that. Yeah. And I know
being real, right?
Yeah. And I honestly had someone reach out to me very early on in the podcast And, have you ever gone to church and you're like listening to the message and you're like, are you speaking to me? Mm-hmm. I literally had someone reach out to me and go, I felt like you were only speaking to me on that show that you just did. Like, I didn't feel alone because of what you said. And that to me
was... What a shot in the arm for you, right?
Oh, it was huge. Yeah. It was huge because we've talked about it. A lot of quiet quitting. People are just like, this is not for me. I'm out. But there's a lot of really talented people in our industry that just need support and just need to be heard and like hugged, like it's okay. It gets better. Because I've been doing this for 29 years. And I fell into it just like everybody else. I was waiting tables at P.F. Chang's and someone said, you'd be a really good property manager. And I was like, I don't know what that is. I was 19. I was like, I don't know.
How much do they pay? Okay.
Right. And it wasn't even that. At the time, I was like about to get married and needed an apartment. And I thought, oh, do we get like discounts on apartments? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. Okay. And then here I am 29 years later, and I've made it into a great career. So,
well, you guys definitely have done that, and the support, but there's also the educational side of things.
Totally.
And you guys have like supercharged that, right? We're all very, very active.
I think we're a first.
Yeah.
So
CAI, what's CAI?
Yeah,
make sure everyone knows what that is.
So the Community Association Institute, Kara, actually all of us are very involved, but a trade
President-elect,
organization.
I heard.
President-elect.
The Orange County chapter.
Moving up. Imposter syndrome. It's really cool. I'm really excited. But the Community Association Institute is a trade organization for HOAs, basically business partners, homeowner leaders, managers, and it's really focused, for me, it's focused around education, credentials, and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm. They have great courses, everything.
Yeah. And so not only can managers learn, but board members can learn and just become a better volunteer board leader for their HOA if that's what they do. But the organization has a bunch of different credentials, starting with the CMCA, Community Manager, I'm going to mess them up.
A lot of acronyms. Yeah.
I don't remember I don't remember what the acronyms mean. I know all of them though. So CMCA, AMS, PCAM. That's for managers.
Yeah. So these are additional certifications to make them more competent in their job.
Yeah.
Provide more confidence.
Yep.
And being able to interact in a more professional
Certified
way.
Manager of Community Associations.
That sounds right.
Got it.
There you go.
And then CAM-ICB is the Community Association Managers International Certification Board. .org. But they provide, so you can take all these continuing education credits. I believe you need 8 a year?
16 for every 2 years.
Yeah.
16 2 years, 8 a year.
For your CMCA.
So you guys have been helping with that.
Yeah. So we pitched an idea to CAM-ICB that we would embed a code on our podcast so that we can actually prove that they've really listened to it. And then they provide us the code, and we give them an hour continuing education credit.
So meeting people at the medium that they're using, right?
Yeah.
Is really what, that's great because, right, it's like sitting and just watching something isn't there, but you guys have great conversations with the professionals.
Yeah, and the fact they can get that education while they're driving in their car.
Right.
Yeah.
What have you,
a lot of people do that.
So I actually am the one who issues the certificates right now. And back in March, we issued 344 certificates in 1 month.
That's huge.
So imagine what it would take if you were out there on the road doing presentations at management companies to get 344 hours of education out there. But the one that really resonated with me the most was I had a manager mom email me and just said, thank you so much. Like, I have not had the time to attend courses, do my certification, get to lunches, but I listened to your show while I was making dinner for my family and I was able to get a certificate. And I was like, that is exactly what we're trying to do.
Or I love a couple people that had their register or their renewal due in 2 days.
Oh yeah, the
and
panic.
How do you get 8 hours in one day? And we had people listen to 8 hours of our podcast.
Listen to the HOA
I felt bad. I'm like,
Pros
did you
podcast.
start going crazy listening to us talk for 8 hours?
Right?
But no, they were in like a bind, and we sent them 8 hours of continuing education in one day, which is pretty wild.
That's amazing. So how many courses are you guys, credits are you guys up to now?
We have 12. 10 are like out live.
Yeah.
But 12 have been approved.
Nice.
And we're still in the process of recording a couple. But probably within like the next 6 weeks, we'll be up to probably close to 14.
That's amazing.
So there's a disclaimer though. Everyone needs to look into the requirements. I don't think you can do 16 hours of podcast.
Right. Yes,
so you got to.
This is a supplement.
You got to break it up a little bit. But what's really great about CAM ICB is I spoke to them when we were at National, and they know us.
Right.
Like they're like, this is such a great medium. We love it. And we're kind of like at that stage now where we've got it so dialed in. They're like, you guys are kind of on auto approval. I was like, yeah, okay.
Yes.
And it's really cool to be able to make a podcast that's conversational into a class.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other predominantly large feedback I get from listeners is, thanks for making it not boring. And I'm not saying that all education is boring.
We talked about backflows for an hour.
Yeah, and like people have a good
how
time.
did you do that without
But
it?
I'll tell you this.
fantastic.
That
A lot of
backflow
sewage jokes.
No, but that backflow episode, I laughed so hard. Like you'll hear me clearing my throat and coughing off mic because it was so funny.
Yeah.
But that's the idea. If you've ever seen Mike do a presentation at CAI in person where he sings a song or he does something fun, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's that kind of entertainment, that kind of energy. So we just wanted to give people an option. Like we know people spend a lot of time in the car.
Yeah.
We know people are busy. We know people have families. We know they want to maintain their certifications, but sometimes it gets cumbersome to try to do that. We just wanted to make it easy. So I
your
think we've done
passion
that.
is evident.
Yes. Thank you.
And it's really cool to watch. Like the next thing, like you guys, I got to talk about this book and games and things like you guys are like pretty soon you're gonna have like a mascot like the gecko guy.
Okay, wait. If you had a mascot
Yeah.
for the HOA pros, what would it be?
It's the little microphone guy.
Yeah, the little mic.
Yeah,
I could see the little
dude.
microphone like coming to life and
Yeah,
like doing
little
dances
stuffed
and
I'm
stuff.
envisioning
Yeah.
like
Ooh,
what-
that'd be like a cool little like stress
squeezy.
squeezer.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm
that'd be
figuring
cool.
Justin Timberlake when he used to do like on Saturday Night Live with those big puffy things.
Bring it on down, Omelettville.
Yes.
My
Get a
gosh.
mic like that. That's
That would be
You need to walk into
so-
president and with
Dude,
one of those.
that would
I
be
see it.
hilarious. Like where he was like a burrito, he was an omelet.
Yes.
And like
He would-
Listen, just
he
put
does-
that into
he just
ChatGPT
had
and say,
like the
make
little
me.
arms. Oh my gosh, that would be hilarious.
So,
We're doing it.
and this is how a lot of our ideas come up. We're
know.
talking
It's
on
like
a
spitball,
podcast.
Yeah.
right?
That was my designation. We're talking about getting your credentials, and I go, "Hey, I should get mine." And Kara goes like, "Oh, I bet you could probably do that." And I'm like, "All right, I'm going to do it."
And he did it.
And so many things have kind of come to fruition during a podcast, and we're like, "All right, we got to do
It's a good idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, you're memorialized saying that you're going to do it, so you better do it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I think the kids' book, obviously I have two
It was
little
your
babies.
idea.
And I was reading a lot of kids' books, and no offense to kid books, but some of them I'm like, who wrote this?
Not very good, right?
They're really bad.
Yeah.
Like some of them I'm like, are you guys even following a story?
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Oh, when I was reading to Sailor one night, I skipped like 4 pages because I was like, this book is terrible.
And they don't even know. Right, yeah.
She didn't.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, so I remember reading kids' books. I'm like, these could be so much more meaningful. Like, and then I was thinking about what we do. Like, okay, like what about telling the story about what you do for work? And then we kind of spitballed, and I started writing, and then we worked on it for over a year, at least.
It was
from the idea, like all the way to production.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was wild.
But
This is what I love about you guys. You always got like some project or some side thing that you're working on. It's a joy to like when I hear of an idea, I'm like, oh, let me like give me some more because you got the boiler room back there that you're brewing a bunch of new things. So.
Can people find your book on Amazon or where
so
do they find
it's
it?
all over. So mommythemanager.com is our website. But the book's also on our podcast website. It's on Amazon. It's on
Barnes and Noble.
Barnes and Noble.
Which
It's
was
everywhere.
so crazy
Love
when
it.
I saw it
Yeah.
on
It's
Barnes and
crazy.
Noble and Amazon.
Yeah.
Because one of my girlfriends who's not even in the industry, she's like, we want to support you. Like, where can I find it? I'm like, you can actually order it on Amazon. And I feel like when you get to Amazon, like you've made
You've
it.
arrived, yeah.
So we learned a ton too. We had some guidance in the beginnings because we're very much do-it-yourselfers.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, let's just go find a printer.
Mostly
And-
you are, but yes.
Well, I
Yes.
mean, the team.
Yes,
We're
yes,
like,
yes.
Come up with
we're
the
told-
ideas, and he's the executor.
No, I was like, is there like a service that could just like help us put this book together? And he's like, no, we can do it ourselves. I'm like, okay.
Well, but then we had guidance along the way to go to this. It's like a do-it-yourself publisher called Ingram Spark.
Yeah.
Okay.
And who knew the amount of requirements to release a children's book? Like it's
yeah.
crazy. The size of the ISBN label on the back
Is that
has to
right?
be
Oh, yeah.
1 square inch. not near the. I mean, there's all these things, but they kind of help guide you through that, so that we're able to be in Amazon, Barnes and Noble. So if you're gonna write a book, definitely get a service like that, because
that makes sense.
Otherwise, we had no idea.
Right.
But then we kind of just reverse engineered into their system, and then it took us, I think, 4 drafts to get it right. Each one was a little off.
My favorite, though, was when we got to the final draft. I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, it looks good. I might change just one thing. He goes, too late. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I ordered 50 of them already. He goes, I knew it would be good. And I was like, okay. And it was great.
That's
and it was great.
That's the optimism.
Well, you get to this certain point
what do you think of this? Not that it matters, but...
Right.
Sorry, I already did this.
You'll see it on Tuesday regardless. Yeah.
But he's good like that, because I can overthink things and just no, it needs to be a millimeter to the left. It's not centered or whatever.
It's analysis paralysis, right? If you try to make it everything perfect, it's never going to get off the ground.
Right.
So, what's the polar opposite of analysis paralysis? Because I have that. I have just jump.
Oh,
I'm
jump.
Like, this is a good idea. Jump.
You're not waiting for
and then I'm like,
you have two,
analysis on the way down.
You have 2 speeds, off or full throttle.
I'm already flying, and I'm like, I should add analysis.
But they say build your wings on the way down, right?
That's me.
Figure
That's
it out.
you.
But that would, but you do a lot that way.
It's good and bad.
Yeah.
It depends.
It's good. Yeah.
Sometimes jumping off tall towers, not so great.
Yes.
Yeah. But,
Well, if you have a parachute, hopefully. At least you remember that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
But that's why we balance each other out so well. Because he'll have a great idea. I can look into the logistics of things, but he's also really good at the logistics too. And I don't think people realize how organized he is. He's really meticulous.
Oh, yeah.
But he gives the impression that it's just woohoo, free, fly by night. And it's not like that at all. But he jumps into things.
Going a little far. It's a little far.
No.
Thank you.
I see.
But you know what?
Pull out your lists and
you're
things
a lot
like
more-
There are
that.
some benefits to that.
But you're a lot more put together than most people, right? Where you might not think that this is crazy thing, but you think through things quickly, right? You get to actions fast and
make a decision.
And start moving. And like you said, in 3 days, you had this, and this set up in no time. So, I mean, that's
fun. And now the reaction has been incredible.
Oh, yeah.
It's been literally choke up. And I've, when we were drafting it, I showed it to some friends that I work with. And I'm not kidding you. 2 or 3 pages in, every time they'd start crying.
Yeah.
Literally start, oh my gosh. And have to shut it and be like,
Almost
okay,
like
I can't read it right
the book
now.
is speaking about them.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Yeah, which
That's
is
really
so cool.
Well, and someone on my team actually said she read it to her sons, and she has a 6-year-old, and he said, Mom, this book is about you.
Oh, that's cool.
But they got us wrong. These are girls in the book. We're boys.
That's darling.
That's great.
But I mean,
But again, another shot in the arm, right? Of
and it's just because you know what, the moms in this industry that hold down the house and this crazy job and make it look so seamless, we don't really
celebrate them. Right?
Yes, we don't celebrate them enough.
Yeah.
And say wow, you are doing a lot.
Yeah. Well,
and
doing either one
I know.
is so much.
It's so much. And doing both,
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, I remember when my kids were little and it's Mom, why are you on the phone all the time? And why do you have night meetings? And what are you doing? And, it's kind of just explaining now you know what Mom does all day. Mm-hmm. We could probably do a second one Mommy goes to a board meeting.
Right?
You guys going to have a whole series.
Well, you're both so creative, and I mean, you come from a family of entertainers, right? That are creative. I mean, you sing, you play the guitar, all music instruments. What have you? Why didn't you go that route in life? Because you're so talented.
Yeah, thank you. I think I still am. I think there's a version of doing what I've tried to bring it into my professional career, right?
You sure have.
In a way that still works. That I feel like I'm still doing it. We're still writing songs. I still get to live like the rock star, just not on famous levels. But I try and incorporate all my passions into it. So, I don't know. I never really. I always wanted to have a real job, right? And
you certainly do.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that being a rock star or whatever, that it always scared me. I saw some friends that started to get pretty famous and stuff, and I don't know. It was terrifying. I'm like, I don't want to go everywhere. Enough people know me as it is. I don't want to actually be famous. Yeah.
Well,
not that I could be.
You've merged the two, right? You've merged your professional, corporate
bring
world.
my passions into work. And so us writing parody songs about community management, and it's just as fun. It provides just as much joy and kind of creative, release.
Yeah. And Kara, Miss Voice,
sings like an angel.
Here. I mean, she really does. That's a good description of it. And I mean, you're a writer as well.
I would say the singing is probably more my forte. Like, I learned to play piano very young, and I learned to read music, but I was never like a
composer.
Yeah, and never. I mean, I tried to write songs when I was younger, and they were not very good. Not like anything like Perloff does, but I found that I was like, I needed to read music when I played piano, when I sang. I wasn't just like a, off the cuff type of performer. But I started very young in music, and I really enjoyed it. And it really was a great, it was a great thing for me to be in all through school. And then after I graduated high school, my boyfriend at the time, who is now my ex-husband, his dad was starting a swing band. And he's like, hey, we need singers. And I was like, I can sing. And he had me kind of sub in as one of the singers. And we did a lot of Andrew's Sisters because it was a swing band. And it really took off from there. Like, we recorded 2 albums.
That's cool.
And then one summer, it was funny because I always say, like, I sort of sing like a Disney princess. Like, I don't have that like rocker voice like Jamie Gould has.
The pure angelic.
Yeah, it's just like a Disney princess voice. So there's a time and a place for it. But one summer I actually did, I think, like 8 or 10 children's albums because my ex-father-in-law had a record label and someone hired him and he's like, hey, I need singers. And I'm like, I can sound like a kid. And so like one summer I just did
like,
there you go.
Yeah, right? Like I did like a rock and roll version of like Row, Row, Row Your Boat. And it was really fun. And then I was on an Andy Williams album one time. And then when I was in the band, like we got to go and do a lot of really cool things. Like we performed at Disneyland like 75 times.
Whoa.
The millennial New Year's Eve, I was very pregnant with Kaylee and I was on stage singing. And I like to attribute, like she's very business minded and marketing minded. And like the business side comes definitely from my dad. But I like to think that she found the music because like I was performing and that millennial
Put the mic up to her, right?
Yeah, the millennial New Year's Eve when we thought
essentially she was performing.
Like Y2K was going to shut everything down. We're like, here we are. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I was like, here we are, 1999 on stage at Disneyland. But what's really been cool is Mike wanting to do these like musical things like let's do a talent show. I'm in. Let's record a song. I'm in. Let's do whatever. I'm like, I'm totally in. So I still get to sing even though I'm not in a band anymore. Got divorced from the band apparently. But it's really a cool outlet, and it's really a kind of a neat talent to kind of have in your back pocket.
And what's interesting about that is that you can still be yourself, right? In this space, right? Yes, there's certain rules and laws and regulations and stuff, but bring your own character to it. You guys have done such a great job.
And
I
got
think
you on stage.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, the Men in Tights.
That was so great.
That was a little stretch for my thing, but no,
your comfort.
Yeah, but you guys really do that. Like it, and I think where you're saying that you people relate.
Yeah,
I think that's great. It's like each person bring out your own personality. If whatever it is that you like, you can still weave into what you're doing, weave into your job, so that it is a little bit more passionate. Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's got different skills that they can bring forward.
And honestly, like if we never did anything fun outside of this job, no one would want to do this job ever.
Yes.
Like you have to bring the stuff in that interests people.
Yeah.
Like I love, there's a group of vendors that's doing like a lake walk every Tuesday or whatever. I love that. And then you see people doing
health
pickleball
and wellness,
doing like just different things. Like happy hours are great, but then, going into these different interests, there's a lot of really super talented people in our industry. And I just don't think we tap into it enough.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Because, it seems like you need to have these certain skills, get this certification.
Yeah.
But where can you show some uniqueness?
The human nature of it.
Yeah.
Just being a person.
Yeah.
And I think like we always try and keep it positive. It's like our theme. I feel like, you know, just there's a lot of darkness in this, not darkness, but you guys know what I mean. Tough stuff.
Potato.
Right.
Because who loves, who could say that they love their HOA? But I think
or you guys called a peasant, just normally isn't like.
You guys are trying to change that. And I think there is a way that we can change it. You're doing it with the book of like giving the other side of the perspective, right? So you understand, if we understand who we are or who the other person is, I think it helps to break those things down. So,
and laugh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laughter.
And I mean, I've learned a lot from him because he always remains very positive. And I go down these like negative Nelly like roads sometimes just because, you know, there's a lot going on. And and I'll be like, oh my gosh, you'll never believe what this person said to me. And he goes, well, you know, maybe they're just having a bad day. And like, maybe they like woke up late. And that's
it
is you. It is you.
And
it
spirit
totally is you.
100%.
Talk about that.
Which sometimes you find it good and refreshing, but then other times I'm sure it's annoying, right?
What?
You find it annoying because you're like, wait a minute, I need to.
No, I don't find it annoying, but
that's good.
It has helped. He has helped me retrain my brain.
Yeah.
Because then I take that home because Andrew and I can for sure go down a rabbit hole because he's having like leadership issues at his job where nobody knows what's going on. And he, after 18 years, someone goes, we don't do it like that. He goes, we have done this for 18 years, but they're like under fire. And I go, and I tell him, I'm like, you have shitty leadership at your job. Like, what is going on? This needs to happen and this needs to happen. But then like last night we were talking and I go, I think you need to lay low for like 2 weeks. And he said, what do you mean? I go, I feel like you've been coming in kind of hot at work and you're just kind of like twisting the knife and because you're upset, but like on paper, you're not doing anything wrong. But like, I can tell that you're kind of like trying to prove a point. Might be time to take a step back.
Well, but when you bring that kind of energy day after day,
right. You get a label and you know, and then, so I'm always kind of thinking like, for the longest time, I was like, what would Mike do? Like, I almost had bracelets made. I'm not joking. Like, I almost did. Yeah.
Well, Summer's the same way. Like, we'll come with something and I want her to get excited or frustrated about something. It's like, well, what about this? And she does. She takes the other perspective. And Mike, you're good at that as well. And I think if you do that, it is like you talk about like, if someone cuts you off, like, well, maybe they're going to the hospital to visit their dying mother or whatever it might be. So
it does. It helps take the temperature down from you instead of you being upset and pissed off and all of the things, right? If you view the other person's perspective, it sort of helps temper how you feel about things because there's a lot of people walking around upset and mad and just looking for things to be upset about.
Oh, trust me. A lot of them live in HOAs.
Yes.
Yes.
We're trying to elevate the space and shift the mindset, right?
We are. We totally
are. Practice daily for sure.
But, you know, I've talked on this with my team specifically. Like, you need to check your energy at a meeting. Like, if you're getting all riled up because someone is riled up, like, it's just going to escalate. So we have a situation where there's a team member, she has a board member that just loves to just get really fired up. And I told her, I said, I watched you go from starting the meeting calm, totally fine, to being like
engaging.
We're at like Mach 100. And I was like, you were matching her energy instead of trying to bring her down. And then everyone started fighting. So it's like you have to check your energy. And that's why, I've told the team, like sometimes we have to take a step back and realize they're not mad at us because of their architectural application. They're mad at something else or this is an outlet.
You're the face of that problem.
Yeah. Or nobody listens to them at home or whatever. There's a meme circulating right now that says, people that don't get listened to at home, they would start a podcast, but they don't know how because nobody listens to them or something like that. And I'm just like, starting a podcast is like kind of hard. So if you want people to listen to you because they don't listen to you at home, maybe go do a podcast. But if it's
is that why we started our podcast? I don't know. I think I can listen at home, but no.
But you know what I mean? It's like, I feel like we're always kind of a sounding board for a lot of different things.
For sure.
Board members become board members because they have either a personal agenda or they need that power back.
Yeah.
And joke's on them. It's like not a power position. It's you're an unpaid volunteer.
And the pay's not very good either. Yeah.
I know. I was talking to a board member the other day and he's like, I just really wish that, we could do X, Y, Z. Like, this is a lot of work. I go, and the pay sucks, right? And he was laughing. I'm like, I'm glad he
That's my go-to line in a board
Those always
meeting.
land.
Yeah. Those land well.
You need a raise.
That usually does help break any tension. That
but
might
how
be
do you
occurring.
stay positive, Mike? Give us like, what is your mindset like?
Oh man,
that you, because I know you can always find the silver lining in just about anything.
Yeah. Gosh, that's a good question.
Or does that come from the family? Like from
the family.
Did you grow
my
up with
parents
like that?
My parents are pretty. My mom especially is like silver lining.
Yeah.
Both of them are. So yeah, great parents for sure.
Yeah.
That would
way to go, mom and dad.
Yes, love them so much. And then I think I don't know. It's just who I am. I don't know how to explain it. I didn't fabricate it. It just kind of comes.
Well, it does
naturally,
come across genuine. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
and
sure.
then it's interesting because Sailor, my daughter, is the sweetest human being you've ever seen already. And so it has to be a lot from kind of parents, right?
Yeah.
So it must be my parents. But I don't know. I'm usually just happy. And
you have what? Two beautiful little daughters?
Two beautiful daughters that are so amazing.
And how old are they now?
3, almost 4. So 4 June 10th. So 2 weeks.
Happy birthday, Sailor, in advance.
Yes. And then 6 months.
Okay.
And the 6-month-old, we think she's broken. She smiles so much. Literally, like we're like,
that's exciting.
She's
We
cute.
think she's broken.
you look at her and she goes, and you're like,
Precious
okay.
girl.
She just constantly smiles. So, yeah, I think it's probably parents that got me that way. And then I just try and find the positives.
Well, you got a lot of good things. We all do. We all have a lot of good things to be thankful for. So, yeah, if you can keep that in the forefront of your mind on a daily basis.
Yeah, what you focus on, you find, right? So if you focus on the positive things, because obviously if you focus on the negative, you're going to find those too.
You totally can. And I do go through waves, right? So I'm not all...
Which is
sometimes,
human nature.
And sometimes I'll be... Mostly I feel like empathy, like sad. Like it'll hurt me that I see someone else is mad because I'm like, I want to help them, but you can't. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the only time I really feel that. But then otherwise, I'm like, I think the more goodness and happiness you put out, the more you get back.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you can do little things that I try and do all the time. Open a door. You know, when someone's walking towards me, and if they're not looking at me and saying hi, I have to be like, hey. Yeah. I cannot not wave at someone. Yeah. I'm bringing that back single-handedly.
I heard somebody say, just a hey.
Back.
Yeah.
Like if you walk by and just say hi or hey, like there's no commitment to that.
No.
Right?
Just
and a
hi.
lot of people will go through the whole day and no one will talk to them.
Yeah.
I know.
And
It's
it'll
really
give them a little jolt of something.
Yeah.
Pass it on, right?
Well, it's acknowledgement, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people don't feel acknowledged in life, and you say hi, and they're like, well, shit, that person saw me.
You're like, I'm not invisible. That's crazy.
You know what goes so far as a random high five. You will blow someone's mind. The security guard in our office building, I'll be walking by and he's kind of frumpy, and then I go, yo, and he goes, yeah! And all of a sudden I see him bouncing off the wall.
Listen, shot in the arm of energy. I love
One
that.
high five is all it takes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay, dude, you're a daredevil. Oh. So can we talk about Sailor? You're almost 4-year-old.
Apple doesn't fall far.
Oh my gosh, the things that I see her do that you have taught her.
That's pretty wild. So she's riding. This is the best. So she has her little motorcycle. She's getting really good at that. And that's a balance bike, so you don't pedal.
Motorcycle.
So not making this up, we had our CI National. And so it was a busy week. Dad was gone all week. I get home. We have family breakfast Monday morning. And I look at Sailor and I go, so what do you want to do this week? And she goes, I want to take my training wheels off. And it was very confidently. And I go, okay. You want to do it today? And she goes, yeah. And I'm getting the chills because I go, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I'm going to work. And when we get home, we'll do it. So I give her the wrench. She takes them off. And we went into the street and I gave her one push and she pedaled like 10 times and then stopped and looked back and went, see, Dad, I can do it.
Oh my gosh.
But then just kept going.
This is exciting.
3.
And you had her take them off herself.
Yes.
That's rad,
dude. Got to show her that.
But you're like a monkey wrench, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
You do all.
So I grew up racing motocross, build my own stuff, build my own roll cages for all my off-road vehicles. And I'm a do-it-yourselfer, have to hands-on everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really cool to see. Sailor is like crazy talented already at 3.
Very.
She's surfing with me.
Nice.
She got on a skateboard this weekend and I'm like, of course your knee jerk is like, oh, don't fall. And she's like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
That's so cool.
The whole
It's what we
nurture
love
over
to do.
nature, right? Yeah. Like it's born with that. You're just bringing it out.
Yeah. And just, we always try not, like, she'll fall, and we just try not to overreact.
Yeah.
She fell she has a zip line in the backyard. Of
course she does.
Pretty hard. And she gets up and goes, like, she looks for your reaction.
Of
like,
course,
am I hurt, Dad? And you go, no, you're good.
Yeah.
She's like, a little blood. Fine.
Keep going. Just keep going.
Wipe it off. And she always loves to say, I'm tough. I'm really tough, Dad. I'm like, yeah, you are.
Well, being a dad's a pretty cool thing, right?
It's amazing. Yeah. And you've really helped, probably more than you know. You've given me really good wisdom along the way.
Well, I appreciate
so many things. I mean, I
think we're all in a journey, and if you're a little bit ahead, I mean, Carrie, you've done that for our friend Elise. You know, it's like, hey, if you've been through something and you can give some insight in advance. So I appreciate the wisdom. It's more of, I've just stubbed my toe on that. Like, hey, there's the ledge. Don't stub your toe as you walk through. But,
no, the best. And I'm ratting ourselves out to our wives. But this is a good one.
Oh, yes.
When I'm getting
I can't wait
married,
to hear this.
I was confessing, Corey, like, so we're planning a wedding, and Sarah would ask me a question, and I don't really know what napkins I want or
care.
Like, or care. And Corey was the wise one that goes, listen, you got to pick a couple things, and just
every 10th item.
Every 10th item.
You're invited, like you're invested.
You debate. Yeah, you debate.
Yeah.
But it was perfect, though, because I was navigating it, and Sarah would go, you don't care about anything? I go, no, the napkins. Let's talk. Yeah. And like Corey would come into my mind, and I was like, oh, he taught me how to do this. And then I'd sit, and our conversation would be totally smooth.
Honey, I love you.
Yes.
Sarah, I know, I'm ratting us out. But it was right, though, because otherwise I was literally just telling Sarah, honey, I don't care. Whatever you want. Well, just do what you want.
Yeah, we had our previous guest on. It's like whatever makes her happy, right? So like if if it doesn't really affect you either way, of course you want your spouse or your partner
I just want her to be happy, whatever she wants. But you have to be interested.
Yes.
Or you have to,
Yes.
It was a good.
The couch is a cool place to be, right?
Yeah. Well, I was catching myself from your wisdom, and I was going, no, don't just say whatever you want. Be like, let me see.
Yeah, you got to have you got to dig into the detail a little bit, right?
All right, am I backpedaling us out of this?
No, you're good. A little honesty for sure. Sure.
It was just, and parenting too. You've really helped me, so thank you.
Well, I think it does. It takes a community from everybody. So I think it's good when you build that network of professional, personal, everything. So What about you? What words of wisdom do you have?
Kara, you've
For
been
parenting?
You've been through the small children thing. Now
you're my kids are 21 and 25 now.
Right.
So
school us a little bit.
Awesome young lady.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm going to drop a bomb on you guys right now. This is so crazy. So Emma is in college to be a teacher. She just finished her junior year, straight A's, like so invested. And we went to the movies this weekend, and she goes, Mom, I think I might want to do what you do instead. And I was like, what?
No way.
And she's like, I'm starting to realize, and I want to say like in the last year, her frontal lobe has for sure started developing. Like we went from like, she was the sweetest little kid, and then teens were rough, and then we're like, okay, we're back. Okay, cool.
Is this what we have to look forward to?
I mean, they change. Okay. And it's interesting when you have two girls, like I have two girls, that they can be so different, and then in certain things be very much the same. But she said, Mom, I think I need a job that's very like structured and that I can move up. And like if I do really well, I can make money. And I was like, okay. And she goes, and I'm just really worried that the education system now just has some flaws where the parents have kind of taken over, they're dictating to the teachers how to teach, and then they're getting involved with the district, and then the teachers can't really teach, and, all these different moving parts. And then she's like, I'm very empathetic. Like she watches and nannies for little kids. And she's like, I see things in little kids and I want to fix and help and do all these things. And what if the school says I can't, and I can't talk about things, and then I can't help them? She's like, I don't think I would sleep. And I was like, oh. She was like, I feel like I need something very black and white. And I was like, well, that is my job. I mean, the governing documents are very black and white.
Yes.
And she's like, and
they interpret them over and over.
Yeah, but she just like knowing what to expect day after day, which a lot of what we do is the same, but then you're just dealing with personalities.
So then how do you coach them? How do you coach your daughter through that then?
So I said to her, I would love for you to see multiple facets of what I do. Because you see on the surface what I do. You don't shadow me, but it's like, I'd love to see you at a board meeting, or I'd love to have you. I even thought about signing her up for CAI, because college students can actually join CAI for $25. I don't know if you guys knew that. And so I thought, come to a trade show, like listen to a presentation. And so I'm actually working with Seabreeze right now to see if there's a way that we could have her intern, or you know, do something where it's more official, so that she gets a good idea.
We had a vendor that they had some childcare issues, so they brought their child to this event. Oh, and it was things like, maybe you can have her just come to a board meeting,
right?
You know, and say, do you want to see? Want to see how this goes?
Or even sitting with you in your office during the day here, and you do the phone calls and the emails, and that's like really feeling what it's like on the day to day.
There's a lack of that exposure, because how are kids supposed to know what some of these careers are, because they won't because it's just glossed over, right? Very much so.
I mean, CAI is really working hard towards getting to a point where we can get the colleges to start sharing what we do and possibly implementing a degree. But until that time, it's kind of word of mouth. Like, that's really how people get into this industry. And so it was really neat for me to hear her say, like, I've been watching you and I've seen what you've done, and that might be a better fit for me. And I was like, ironically, I went to college to be a teacher, and then I became a property manager.
Well, you kind of have to have the heart of a teacher with this.
Oh,
career.
absolutely, absolutely,
and a coach.
Good skill set to have.
Right,
a lot of different skills.
Right,
yeah.
And so it was actually pretty exciting to hear her say that and really be invested. But with my girls, you know, we've had a rough road. There's been a lot of stuff that we've had to navigate together.
Yeah.
But what I've always done is I've always just shown them that they can do it. They can do anything they want. And I've done anything that I want. And it's working hard. And, you
only fail when you give up.
Yeah. And things just aren't going to be handed to us. Yeah. And, you know, when they were teenagers, that was a really tough lesson. You know, they both went to Northwood High School in Irvine, a very affluent area where most of their friends got brand new BMWs when they turned 16. And that was not how, even if I had had the money at the time to do that, I wouldn't have done it. Because in this house, we're going to learn the value of a dollar. For sure. And we're going to learn that we work.
Delayed gratification.
We work hard. Yeah. And, you know, Emma now drives my grandma's 2004 Saturn that she can't drive anymore because she's not allowed to. And, you know, would she like a nicer car? Yes. But when we talk about it, she was like, well, I don't want a car payment. I go, well, there you go.
That's good.
So with my girls, it was just as they got older and started seeing like how working hard really pays off. That for me was like the best lesson, because that's what my dad taught me. You always work hard. And my dad and I actually heard some stories last weekend that I had never heard before about my dad and just kind of his journey in the workforce, which was kind of exciting to hear. But yeah, we work hard in our family. Period.
I think that's
Thank you for teaching your kids that too. That's amazing.
Well, and we see a lot of kids coming up. It's like, oh, I'm going to be a YouTube star, or
they all want to be, huh?
Yeah, and I like a 40-hour work week. What are you talking about? Or I have to go to the office. Like, you know, there is a market for that, but it's not for everyone. And so it's like, we need skill sets. We need, you know, interpersonal skills. We, you know, need to understand what customer service looks like, because inevitably, I mean, unless you're just a behind the scenes like engineer,
every job has a customer service component.
Every job. So my goal as a mom was just to raise good humans, honestly.
You did.
Thank you.
Definitely did.
Your girls rock.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, this has been a good conversation. I think we're going to have to do a part 2.
I feel like we need to do another part 2, because it's flown by.
We want to make sure that you guys, they know where to get a hold of you.
Yeah, okay.
Look at the camera over here, Mike. Hit it up.
Visit us at www.thehoaprospodcast.com. Everything's there.
Yep.
Apple, Spotify, Instagram, our book, our games, our merch.
Yep.
But if you visit the website, you'll kind of see links to everything.
Yep.
Awesome.
Love that. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Love you both.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us. We will see you on the next episode of Next Level Living Podcast. Bye.